Okay, so you're prepping for a construction manager
Yeah.
interview and feeling maybe a little overwhelmed by all the potential questions.
Yeah.
I get it. There's a lot riding on this.
Right.
But that's why we're diving deep today into some real interview questions pulled straight from RoleCatcher,
Okay.
a platform designed to help people like you absolutely nail those crucial interviews.
Absolutely.
It's an amazing resource.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Walking into an interview feeling prepared can make all the difference. And that's where RoleCatcher really shines, offering a huge library of questions, even AI-powered feedback to fine-tune your responses.
Yeah.
We'll touch on how that AI works its magic a bit later.
Sounds good.
But first, let's get into some of these questions.
Yeah. Now, a lot of interviews kick off with a pretty standard question.
Yeah.
Something like, what inspired you to pursue a career in construction management?
Yeah.
What's the best way to approach this one?
It might seem basic, but this is your chance to really showcase your passion for the industry.
Right.
Think back to what sparked that initial interest.
Yeah.
Was it a childhood fascination with building things?
Yeah.
Maybe you were drawn to the problem-solving aspects or the sheer scale of construction projects?
I know someone who got into construction management because they were obsessed with those mega bridge documentaries.
Oh, wow.
Something about seeing these massive structures come to life just hooks her.
Exactly. Tap into those personal experiences. It
Yeah.
makes your answer memorable and shows you're not just there for a paycheck. You genuinely care about building things.
Yeah, and I think that's so important
It is.
because they can always tell.
They can and
Yeah.
be ready for follow-up questions.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They might ask about the aspects of construction management you find most fulfilling
Yeah.
or what kind of projects you're most drawn to.
Okay, so let's say you've nailed the inspiration question.
All right.
What comes next?
Well, buckle up because now they're going to dig into your skills and experience.
Oh, boy.
The question like, how do you ensure projects are completed on time and within budget?
Oh, yeah, that one.
Was almost guaranteed to come up.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
And it's not enough to just say, I'm a really organized person, right?
Right.
You've got to have more than that.
Interviewers are looking for a clear methodology, a system you use to manage projects effectively.
Yeah.
Think about it. How do you prioritize tasks? How do you handle unexpected delays?
Right.
What's your approach to resource allocation?
Yeah.
The career guide actually highlights the importance of judgment and decision-making and management of personal resources for construction managers.
Right.
And this question really gets at those core abilities.
So it's about painting a picture of your process,
Yeah.
showing them you're not just winging it.
Exactly.
You've got a system in place.
And be prepared for scenario-based follow-up questions.
Yeah.
They might throw a curveball. Like, imagine a major concrete delivery is delayed. How would you adapt?
Really?
These questions are designed to see how you think on your feet and solve problems proactively.
Okay, so time management and problem solving are covered. What about the people side of things?
Yes, because construction isn't just about concrete and steel. It's about managing people, too.
Yeah.
A question like, how do you manage conflict on construction sites?
Oh, yeah.
Is a great way to assess your leadership and communication skills.
I can imagine that things can get pretty heated on a construction site.
Oh, for sure.
With so many deadlines and personalities clashing.
It happens.
Yeah.
And interviewers want to see that you can handle those situations calmly and professionally.
Right.
Remember, it's not about calming people down. It's about clear communication and finding win-win solutions.
Right.
Start by demonstrating your active listening skills.
Okay.
Then explain how you facilitate open dialogue to get to the root of the problem. Be prepared to share a real-world example of a conflict you successfully navigated,
Yeah.
what you learned from it,
Yeah.
and how you applied those lessons to future situations.
That makes sense. And speaking of keeping things running smoothly, safety is obviously a huge concern on construction sites.
Absolutely.
You can't mess around with that.
And the public safety and security knowledge area is a big one,
Yeah.
according to the career guide. So when they ask, how do you ensure construction sites are safe for workers?
Yeah.
You need to demonstrate an unwavering commitment to safety protocols.
So just saying safety is my top priority isn't going to cut it.
Nope.
You need more.
Knowledge of OSHA regulations is crucial,
Right.
as is familiarity with specific safety measures for different tasks. You'll also want to show that you're not afraid to enforce those rules,
Okay.
even if it means delaying work to address a potential hazard.
So if you saw a worker not wearing proper safety gear, you'd step in immediately.
Yeah.
Even if it meant pushing back the schedule.
Exactly. That's the level of seriousness they're looking for.
Yeah.
And be prepared to discuss a time you implemented a new safety protocol on a site, or maybe a situation where you had to address a safety violation. It's all about showing them you're proactive when it comes to worker well-being.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Now, we know that construction projects often involve a lot of moving parts.
Right.
And managing subcontractors is a big part of the job.
It is, and the career guide emphasizes management of personnel resources as a core ability here.
Good.
So when they ask, how do you manage subcontractors and ensure they meet project requirements, they're really probing your leadership and delegation skills.
Right, because you're essentially responsible for the work of multiple teams.
Exactly.
You got to keep everybody on track.
Highlight your ability to build strong working relationships with subcontractors. Emphasize clear communication up front.
Yeah.
Setting expectations for deadlines, quality standards, and communication protocols.
So having those systems in place is so important.
It is.
And being organized.
They might ask how you'd handle a subcontractor consistently missing deadlines.
Oh, right.
So be ready to discuss your approach to accountability without micromanaging.
So it's a balance of trust, but also holding people accountable for their deliverables.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that can throw a wrench in the works, change orders are a fact of life in construction.
Yeah. I can imagine things rarely go exactly according to plan.
Right.
Stuff happens.
So the question, how do you manage change orders and ensure they don't impact the project timeline or budget, is a way to assess your flexibility and problem-solving skills.
Yeah, because you've got to be able to roll with those punches.
You do.
So how should someone approach this question?
First, acknowledge that change is inevitable.
Right.
Then outline your process for handling change orders.
Okay.
Do you have a system for documenting and evaluating the impact of changes? How do you communicate those changes to stakeholders? Interviewers are looking for someone who can navigate those tricky waters strategically without losing sight of the project goals.
So it's about demonstrating you can adapt and find creative solutions without letting the project spiral out of control.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
And be prepared to discuss a time you had to handle a major change order. What steps did you take to mitigate the impact?
Yeah.
How did you keep everyone informed and on board?
Okay, change management check.
Right.
What about ensuring that the actual work being done meets quality standards?
Ah, yes. Quality control, building and construction knowledge is paramount here,
Right.
with a whopping 86% importance score in the career guide.
Oh, okay.
So when they ask, how do you ensure quality standards are met on construction sites, they're assessing your attention to detail and commitment to delivering top-notch work.
Right, because a beautifully designed building is useless if it's poorly constructed.
Exactly.
That's no...
Think about your proactive approach to quality control.
Yeah.
Do you conduct regular inspections?
How do you document and address defects?
Okay.
How do you communicate quality expectations to subcontractors?
Right.
They might ask about specific tools or methods you use to track quality throughout a project.
Okay.
So be prepared to showcase your expertise.
Okay. So we've covered time management, conflict resolution, safety managing subcontractors,
Right.
handling change orders, and ensuring quality.
Yeah.
It feels like we've touched on almost every aspect of construction management.
We've covered a lot, but there's one more critical area to address:
Okay.
risk management.
Risk management.
The construction industry is inherently risky, and interviewers want to know that you're capable of identifying and mitigating those risks effectively.
Yeah, you don't want any surprises.
No, you don't.
So when they ask, how do you manage risk on construction sites?
Yeah.
What are they really looking for?
They want to see that you have a deep understanding of potential hazards
Okay.
and a systematic approach to risk assessment and response planning.
Critical thinking is a vital skill here, as highlighted in the career guide.
So it's about more than just being aware of general safety guidelines.
Right.
It's about anticipating specific risks and developing strategies to minimize them.
Exactly. Think about potential risks related to weather site conditions,
Okay.
equipment malfunctions,
Yep.
material deliveries,
Right.
even labor disputes.
Wow. So many things to keep in mind.
They might ask for an example of a major risk you identified on a project
Okay.
and how you addressed it. So be ready with a compelling story.
So it's not just about preventing accidents. It's about protecting the project as a whole.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Now, all of these questions we've discussed so far really emphasize the importance of strong communication skills
Right.
in construction management.
Right, because keeping everyone on the same page is crucial.
It is.
Especially when you're dealing with so many different stakeholders.
Exactly.
And that brings us to another common question. How do you manage stakeholder expectations on construction projects?
Yeah.
This one's all about demonstrating your ability to communicate effectively, negotiate, and find solutions that benefit everyone involved.
Yep.
It sounds like you need to be a master diplomat.
In a way, yes.
Right.
Think about how you build relationships with stakeholders, how you communicate project updates, and how you handle situations where expectations clash with reality.
Right.
Speaking and active listening are highlighted in the career guide for a reason. You need to be able to articulate complex information clearly and listen attentively to the concerns of others.
So it's not just about talking, it's about truly understanding and addressing the needs of each stakeholder.
Exactly.
Being able to put yourself in their shoes.
And be prepared to share an anecdote about a time you successfully navigated a situation with conflicting stakeholder demands.
Okay.
What strategies did you use to find a compromise?
Right.
What did you learn from the experience?
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from managing time and resources to mitigating risks and handling stakeholder expectations.
Yeah.
It feels like we've equipped our listener with a pretty solid toolkit
I hope so.
for tackling those tough construction manager interview questions.
We've made great progress.
We have.
But there's one more crucial aspect to touch on.
Okay.
Demonstrating a commitment to continuous learning.
Continuous learning, right.
Because the construction industry is constantly evolving with new technologies and regulations emerging all the time.
It's always changing.
Exactly.
So when they ask, how do you stay up to date on industry trends and changes in regulations?
Yeah.
It's your chance to show that you're not content with the status quo.
Right.
You're actively seeking out new knowledge and adapting to the changing landscape.
Yes.
So how do you go beyond the generic, I read industry publications answer?
Specificity is key.
Oh.
Mention professional organizations like the CMAA, the NAHB, maybe ASPE. These are all great resources for networking and continuing education.
Right.
Talk about specific conferences or online courses you've taken, highlighting key takeaways that are relevant to the job you're applying for.
Right.
The career guide even mentions the importance of active learning for a reason.
Okay.
You need to be able to absorb and apply new information effectively.
So it's about showing them that you're invested in professional growth and committed to staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
Yeah, and showing that you're really passionate about the field.
And that's where RoleCatcher can really give you an edge.
Oh, okay. How so?
Remember that AI we mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Well, it can analyze the specific job description you're targeting and identify any missing skills in your CV.
Oh, wow.
It's like having a personal career coach pointing out areas for improvement.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's not just about prepping for general interview questions. It's about tailoring your answers to the specific role and company you're interested in.
Precisely. And the AI can even give you feedback on your interview answers and video rehearsals, helping you refine your responses and improve your presentation.
It's like having a virtual mock interview panel at your fingertips.
Exactly.
Wow, that's so cool.
And with RoleCatcher's guidance, you can walk into that interview feeling confident, prepared, and ready to impress.
That sounds great.
It is.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all really helpful advice.
Good.
I'm sure our listeners are going to be so grateful for that.
I hope so.
I think it's really interesting how even seasoned construction managers sometimes stumble when it comes to showcasing their commitment to continuous learning.
It's true. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, I've got years of experience, I know what I'm doing. But the construction industry is like a constantly moving target.
Right.
There's always something new to learn.
Yeah.
Think about the rise of building information modeling, or BIM, as it's commonly known.
Oh, yeah, BIM.
It's completely revolutionizing the way projects are designed and managed.
Can you back up a second?
Sure.
For those of us who aren't fluent in construction jargon, what exactly is BIM?
Good point. BIM is essentially a 3D digital representation of a building.
Okay.
Combining all the architectural, structural, and MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing designs into one comprehensive model.
So instead of juggling separate blueprints and plans, everything is integrated into one virtual model.
Precisely.
Okay.
And this has huge implications for construction managers.
Yeah.
It allows for better collaboration between different teams, helps identify potential clashes or conflicts in the design phase,
Right.
and ultimately leads to more efficient and cost-effective construction.
Wow, that's a game changer.
It is.
So if a candidate can demonstrate their knowledge of BIM in an interview, it's a big plus.
Absolutely.
Okay, good to know.
It shows they're keeping up with industry trends and embracing new technologies.
Right.
And it's not just about understanding the software. It's about understanding how BIM impacts the entire construction process and how it can be used to improve communication collaboration and ultimately project outcomes.
Okay, so BIM is definitely one to add to the study list.
Yeah, put that on there.
What are some other industry trends that construction managers should be aware of?
Well, sustainability is a huge one.
Sustainability, yeah.
Clients are increasingly demanding LEED-certified buildings,
Right.
energy-efficient systems, and environmentally friendly materials.
Right, because it's not just about building structures anymore.
Exactly.
It's about building responsibly.
Right. And this presents a fantastic opportunity for candidates to showcase their knowledge and experience in this area.
So even if a job description doesn't explicitly mention sustainability,
Yeah.
it's worth weaving it into your answers.
Absolutely.
Okay, good tip.
For instance, if you're asked about managing costs, you could talk about how you've successfully sourced sustainable materials without exceeding the budget.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Or if they ask about risk management, you could mention anticipating environmental regulations
Yeah.
and incorporating them into your plans from the outset.
Exactly.
It's all about thinking ahead.
It shows you're thinking ahead and considering the bigger picture, not just focused on the immediate task at hand.
Okay, now speaking of staying ahead of the curve, let's loop back to RoleCatcher
Okay.
and its AI-powered tools. Can you give us a concrete example of how it can help candidates highlight their sustainability expertise?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's say the job description mentions experience with green building practices.
Okay.
RoleCatcher's AI can scan your CV and highlight any relevant projects or skills that might not be immediately obvious.
So maybe you worked on a project that incorporated solar panels or a rainwater harvesting system, but you didn't explicitly call it green building on your resume.
Exactly. The AI picks up on those keywords and helps you weave them into your answers,
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
making your experience more visible to the hiring manager. Right.
It's like having a personal PR agent crafting your narrative to highlight your most relevant strengths.
And it goes beyond just finding keywords, right?
Yeah.
The AI can also analyze your answers and suggest improvements
Right.
based on the specific job requirements.
Precisely.
Oh.
So if you're talking about managing conflict, but the job description emphasizes collaboration, the AI might nudge you to focus more on consensus building and finding win-win solutions.
It's like having a virtual interview coach.
Yeah.
Giving you real-time feedback and helping you fine-tune your responses.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And that kind of personalized guidance can make all the difference in helping you stand out from the competition and land that dream job.
Yeah, I love that.
It's a great tool.
Okay, so we've talked about sustainability, BIM,
Yo.
all these really important trends in the industry. But now let's shift gears a bit and talk about a more practical aspect of construction management.
Okay.
Managing projects within the constraints of time and budget. Yeah, that's a topic that every construction manager has to grapple with.
Right. So
Okay.
when they ask, how do you ensure projects are completed on time and within budget? What are they really looking for?
They want to see that you have a solid grasp of project management principles and a proven track record of delivering results.
Right.
It's not enough to just say, I'm organized or I'm good with numbers.
Right, because anyone can say that.
Right.
So what kind of answer would really impress them?
You need to paint a picture of your process, your methodology, your system for keeping everything on track.
Okay, so walk us through it.
Yeah.
What are the key steps involved in ensuring a project stays on schedule and within budget?
It all starts with a comprehensive and realistic project plan.
Okay.
This means breaking down the project into manageable phases, identifying key milestones,
Okay.
and establishing clear timelines for each stage.
So it's like creating a roadmap for the entire project
Yeah.
with clear markers along the way.
Exactly. And along with the timeline,
Yeah.
you need a detailed budget that accurately reflects the costs of labor materials, equipment permits,
Right.
and everything else.
Right, because unexpected costs can quickly derail a project.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where contingency planning comes in.
Contingency planning, can you elaborate on that?
Of course.
Okay.
Contingency planning is all about anticipating potential problems and developing strategies to mitigate them.
Okay.
For example, what happens if there's a delay in material deliveries?
Or what if a key subcontractor falls behind schedule?
Exactly.
So many things can go wrong.
By thinking ahead and developing backup plans,
Yeah.
you can minimize disruptions and keep the project moving forward.
So it's like having a plan B
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even a plan C in your back pocket, just in case things go sideways.
Precisely.
That's a good way to put it.
But it's not just about planning. It's
Right.
also about execution.
Right.
You need to have a system for tracking progress, monitoring costs, and identifying potential problems early on.
So that means regular site visits, progress meetings.
Yes,
And meticulous record keeping.
absolutely.
And all that's so important.
And don't underestimate the importance of communication.
Yeah.
Keep all stakeholders informed about the project status, any challenges you're facing, and any adjustments you need to make to the schedule or budget.
Right, because transparency and open communication can help prevent misunderstandings and build trust among the team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when problems do arise, and they inevitably will,
Okay.
it's important to address them quickly and decisively.
Right.
Don't let small issues fester into major setbacks.
So it's about being proactive, solution-oriented,
Yes,
and always willing to adjust course when necessary.
exactly.
Are there any other key ingredients for staying on time and within budget?
One often overlooked aspect is the importance of building a strong team.
Oh, yeah, the team.
You need to surround yourself with skilled and reliable professionals who share your commitment to quality and efficiency.
So that means carefully selecting subcontractors,
Yeah.
fostering a collaborative work environment,
Right.
and holding everyone accountable for their contributions.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because when everyone is working together effectively,
Yeah.
it creates a synergy that can help overcome challenges and achieve remarkable results.
I love that synergy.
And that brings us to another essential aspect of construction management,
Okay, with that.
navigating the inevitable conflicts that arise when you're coordinating multiple teams and personalities.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine a construction project without some degree of conflict.
It happens.
So when they ask, how do you manage conflict on construction sites?
Yeah.
What are they really looking for?
They want to see that you can handle those situations calmly, professionally, and constructively.
Right.
It's not about avoiding conflict altogether. It's about managing it effectively and
Right.
finding solutions that benefit everyone involved.
Okay, so walk us through your approach. What are the key steps involved in effectively managing conflict on a construction site?
First and foremost, it starts with active listening.
Okay, active listening.
When a conflict arises, take the time to hear each party's perspective without interrupting or judging.
Yeah.
Try to understand the root cause of the disagreement
Mm-hmm.
and identify any underlying emotions or motivations that might be fueling the conflict.
So it's about creating a safe space for open and honest communication
Exactly.
where everyone feels heard and respected.
And once you've gained a clear understanding of the situation, you can start to facilitate a dialogue aimed at finding common ground.
But what if the parties involved are entrenched in their positions and unwilling to budge?
That's where your negotiation skills come into play.
Negotiation.
It's about finding creative solutions that address everyone's needs as much as possible.
So it's about finding that win-win solution where everyone walks away feeling like they've been heard and their concerns have been addressed.
Precisely.
That's a good feeling.
And remember, conflict resolution is not just about finding a quick fix. It's about building stronger relationships and fostering a more collaborative work environment.
That makes sense.
Now let's shift our focus to another critical aspect of construction management,
Okay.
ensuring the safety of everyone on the job site.
Yes, because safety is paramount in this industry.
It is.
It's not just about rules and regulations.
Right.
It's about creating a culture of safety that permeates every aspect of the project.
You're absolutely right. And interviewers want to see that you understand the importance of safety
Right.
and that you have a proactive approach to creating a safe work environment.
So when they ask, how do you ensure construction sites are safe for workers?
Yeah.
What are they really listening for?
They're looking for evidence that you go beyond just ticking boxes on a safety checklist.
Okay.
They want to see that you actively promote safety, enforce the rules, and create a culture where everyone feels responsible for their own safety and the safety of others.
So it's about leadership communication and setting a good example.
Exactly. It's about making sure everyone on the site understands the safety protocols, the potential hazards, and the consequences of not following the rules. And it's about providing regular safety training, conducting toolbox talks, and encouraging workers to speak up if they see something unsafe.
Right, because everybody's got to look out for each other.
They do.
And don't forget about the importance of personal protective equipment, PTE.
Oh, yes, PPE.
Make sure everyone has the right gear for the job and that they're wearing it properly.
Absolutely.
Right, because a hard hat or a pair of safety glasses can literally mean the difference between life and death.
Exactly.
It's so important.
And remember, safety is not just about preventing accidents.
Right.
It's also about creating a work environment where people feel comfortable speaking up if they see something unsafe.
Absolutely.
Now, shifting gears again, let's talk about managing subcontractors.
Ah, yes, the subcontractors.
They play such a vital role in the success of any construction project.
They do.
And interviewers want to see that you have a system for selecting qualified subcontractors, setting clear expectations, monitoring their progress, and holding them accountable for delivering quality work on time and within budget.
Yeah, because again, you're kind of responsible for what they do.
You are.
So when they ask, how do you manage subcontractors and ensure they meet project requirements? What are they really getting at?
They're essentially asking, can you build a strong team and get the best out of everyone?
Right. It's all about the team.
It all starts with a thorough vet. It all starts with a thorough vetting process. Don't just go with the lowest bidder. Take the time to research potential subcontractors, check their references, and make sure they have a proven track record of delivering quality work.
So it's about doing your due diligence.
Yes.
And selecting partners who are reliable and competent.
Exactly. And once you've selected your team,
it's crucial to set clear expectations from the outset.
Right.
Make sure they understand the project scope, the specifications, the deadlines, and the quality standards you expect.
And I imagine communication is key here.
You bet. Establish regular communication channels, whether it's weekly progress meetings, site visits, or email updates. Keep them informed about any changes to the project plans and address any concerns they might have.
Because clear communication can prevent a lot of headaches and misunderstandings down the road.
Exactly. And don't forget about monitoring progress.
Right. You got to keep an eye on things.
Make sure you have a system for tracking their work, inspecting their deliverables, and identifying any potential problems early on.
Because the sooner you catch an issue, the easier it is to course correct.
Precisely. And when problems do arise, and they inevitably will, address them constructively. Talk to the subcontractor. Understand the cause of the problem.
And work together to find a solution. Remember, you're all on the same team working towards a common goal.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of challenges, let's talk about something that's a constant in the construction industry.
Okay, what's that?
Change orders.
Change orders.
Yeah, change orders are a fact of life in construction.
Yeah. Things rarely go exactly according to plan.
Right.
So it's important to be able to adapt and manage those changes effectively.
You're absolutely right. And interviewers want to see that you have a system for handling change orders without derailing the project.
Yeah, you don't want to throw the whole thing off track.
No, you don't.
So when they ask, how do you manage change orders and ensure they don't impact the project timeline or budget, what are they really looking for?
They're assessing your flexibility, your problem-solving skills, and your ability to keep everyone on the same page when things shift.
Right, because it's all about communication.
It is.
And being able to adjust.
Exactly.
Okay, so walk us through it. What are the essential steps involved in managing change orders effectively?
First and foremost, you need to establish a clear procedure for submitting, reviewing, and approving change orders.
So that means having a standardized form outlining the scope of the change, the associated costs, and the impact on the schedule.
Precisely. And it's important to involve all relevant stakeholders in the review process. Get input from the client, the architects, the engineers, and any affected subcontractors.
Because everyone needs to be on board with the change and understand its implications.
Exactly. And once a change order is approved, update the project plans and communicate the changes to the team.
Right.
Clear communication is essential to prevent confusion delays and costly mistakes.
Right, because if people are working off outdated plans,
Exactly.
it can lead to all sorts of problems.
Absolutely. And don't forget about monitoring the impact of the change.
Okay.
Track the costs, the schedule adjustments,
Right.
and any ripple effects it might have on other aspects of the project.
Because sometimes a seemingly small change can have a cascading effect.
Yes.
Impacting multiple phases of the project.
Precisely. And by carefully monitoring those impacts, you can make necessary adjustments and keep the project on track.
Okay, so change orders, check.
Yeah.
We've got those under control.
Now let's talk about another essential aspect of construction management.
Okay.
Ensuring quality.
Ah, yes, quality control.
It's about more than just meeting the minimum standards.
Right.
It's about striving for excellence and delivering a product that you can be proud of.
You want to be able to stand back and say, I built that.
You do.
And it's awesome.
You're absolutely right. And interviewers want to see that you understand the importance of quality and have a system for ensuring that standards are met.
So when they ask, how do you ensure that quality standards are met on construction sites?
Yeah.
What are they really listening for?
They're looking for evidence that you have a proactive approach to quality control.
Okay.
That you're detail-oriented and that you're committed to delivering a high-quality product that meets or exceeds expectations.
Okay, so walk us through your process.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that quality is built into every step of the project?
It starts with clear communication.
Okay.
Make sure everyone on the team understands the quality standards, the specifications, and the tolerances that need to be met.
So that means sharing blueprints, specifications, shop drawings, and all relevant documentation with everyone involved?
Exactly. And it's important to provide training on quality control procedures and make sure everyone knows how to properly inspect materials, installations, and workmanship.
Right, because if people don't know what to look for or how to identify defects, it's impossible to maintain consistent quality.
Precisely. And don't forget about documentation.
Documentation.
Keep detailed records of inspections, tests, and any corrective actions taken.
So it's about creating a paper trail.
It is.
That demonstrates your commitment to quality and provides evidence of your efforts to meet or exceed industry standards.
Exactly. And remember, quality control is not just the responsibility of the construction manager.
Okay.
It's everyone's responsibility. Empower workers to identify and report defects. Encourage subcontractors to take pride in their work. And create a culture where everyone strives for excellence.
I love that.
Now let's tackle a question that can be a bit daunting for some candidates. How do you manage risk on construction sites?
Risk management.
It requires a deep understanding of the various risks inherent in construction projects and a strategic approach to mitigating those risks.
Yeah, it's a big one.
You're absolutely right.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Risk management is a crucial aspect of construction management. Interviewers want to know that you've thought about potential hazards and have strategies in place to minimize those risks.
They don't want you to just wing it.
They don't.
They want to see that you've put some thought into it.
They're looking for that proactive and systematic approach rather than just hoping for the best.
So when you're discussing risk management in an interview, it's important to highlight your experience with those proactive measures.
Exactly. Have you conducted risk assessments on previous projects? Have you developed contingency plans for handling unexpected events? Have you implemented safety protocols that go above and beyond the minimum requirements? These are all things you'll want to highlight.
Because those are the actions that demonstrate a genuine commitment to safety and risk mitigation.
Precisely. And remember, be specific and provide concrete examples.
Don't just talk in generalities.
Don't just say, I'm good at managing risk. Instead, tell a story about a time you identified a potential hazard, assessed its impact, and implemented a solution that prevented a costly or dangerous situation.
Okay, so let's say you're working on a high-rise construction project. And you notice that some of the scaffolding isn't properly secured.
Oh, no.
How would you handle that situation?
That's a great example. First, I would immediately halt work in the affected area to prevent any potential accidents.
Good first step.
Then I would notify the site supervisor and the safety manager to ensure they were aware of the situation. Next, I would work with the scaffolding crew to identify the cause of the problem and develop a plan for rectifying it.
Okay.
And finally, I would document the incident
Right.
and the corrective actions taken to ensure everything was properly recorded.
That's a really comprehensive and proactive approach.
Yeah.
It shows that you're genuinely concerned about the well-being of your team
I would hope so.
and the integrity of the project.
And that's what interviewers want to see. They
Yeah.
want to know that you're not just a skilled construction manager,
Right.
but also a responsible leader who prioritizes safety above all else.
But remember, risk management isn't just about preventing accidents.
Okay.
It's also about protecting the project's budget and timeline.
Right, because unforeseen problems can quickly lead to cost overruns and delays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about potential cost overruns due to material shortages or labor disputes.
Right.
Consider the impact of weather delays or unexpected site conditions. And don't forget about the possibility of changes in regulations or building codes
Right.
that could require costly modifications.
It sounds like you need to be a master planner and a bit of a fortune teller
It does take a bit of both.
to manage all these potential risks.
In a way, yes.
So,
But the good news is that many of these risks can be anticipated and mitigated
okay.
with careful planning and proactive measures.
Okay, so give us some examples. How can you proactively manage these types of risks?
Well, having a robust procurement process can help you secure materials at competitive prices
Okay.
and minimize the risk of shortages.
Right, because if you wait till the last minute to order materials.
You're at the mercy of suppliers and price fluctuations.
Exactly.
It is not a good place to be.
And developing a detailed project schedule with built-in contingency time
Okay.
can help you absorb unexpected delays without blowing your deadline.
So even if the client is pushing for a tight timeline,
Yes.
it's important to build in some buffer time just in case things go wrong.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And don't forget about staying informed about industry trends and regulatory changes.
Right, because if you're not aware of upcoming changes to building codes, for example, it could result in costly rework down the line,
Exactly.
which nobody wants.
So by being proactive, strategic, and always thinking a few steps ahead,
Right.
you can effectively manage risks and protect the project from potential disruptions.
Okay, so we've talked about managing risk. We've talked about quality control.
Right.
Now let's shift our focus to the people involved in these projects, the stakeholders.
Okay.
Every construction project involves a multitude of stakeholders,
It does.
each with their own priorities, perspectives,
Right.
and expectations.
You're absolutely right. And managing stakeholder expectations is a crucial aspect of construction management.
Right.
It's like conducting an orchestra where everyone wants to play a different tune.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
So when they ask, how do you manage stakeholder expectations on construction projects?
Yeah,
What are they really looking for?
it sounds like a tough one.
They're looking for evidence that you can communicate effectively,
Okay.
negotiate skillfully, and build consensus among a diverse group of people.
So it's not just about being a good communicator.
It's
about being a good diplomat as well.
Exactly. It's about building relationships, understanding individual needs,
Right.
and finding solutions that benefit the project as a whole.
Okay, so walk us through your approach. How do you effectively manage stakeholder expectations?
It all starts with clear communication from the outset.
Okay.
Set up regular meetings, provide timely updates, and be transparent about any challenges or changes that arise.
So it's about keeping everyone in the loop.
Yes.
And preventing those communication breakdowns that can lead to frustration and resentment.
Exactly. And it's also important to be proactive in identifying potential conflicts of interest and addressing them before they escalate into major problems.
Because sometimes what seems like a minor disagreement can quickly turn into a major roadblock
Exactly.
if it's not addressed promptly.
And when conflicts do arise, approach them with a collaborative mindset.
Right.
Listen carefully to each stakeholder's concerns.
Okay.
Acknowledge their perspective and work together to find solutions that meet everyone's needs as best as possible.
It sounds like you need a lot of patience.
You do.
And a genuine desire to find solutions that work for everyone.
You do. It's also about being firm and assertive when necessary.
Okay.
You can't please everyone all the time.
Right.
And sometimes you need to make tough decisions that might not be popular with everyone.
So it's a delicate balance of being collaborative and decisive.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, to illustrate this,
Okay.
let's say you're working on a large commercial development project.
Okay.
And the client is pushing for an accelerated timeline,
Right.
while the architect is concerned about compromising the design quality.
No, that's classic scenario.
It is. First, I would meet with both the client and the architect separately
Right.
to fully understand their concerns and priorities.
Right.
Then I would bring them together for a joint meeting
Yeah.
to facilitate a constructive dialogue.
Yeah.
I would emphasize the importance of finding a solution
Mm-hmm.
that balances both the client's desire for speed
Right.
and the architect's commitment to quality.
So it's about acknowledging everyone's concerns and finding that middle ground where both parties feel heard and respected.
And that might involve brainstorming alternative approaches,
Oh, right.
exploring trade-offs,
Yeah.
or even bringing in a neutral third party to mediate the dispute.
Right.
The key is to remain calm, focused,
Right.
and committed to finding a solution that moves the project forward.
Now, speaking of moving forward,
Yes.
let's talk about staying ahead of the curve in this ever-evolving industry.
Yes. The importance of continuous learning.
Right.
It's a question that often comes up in construction manager interviews.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity to showcase your commitment to professional growth.
So when they ask, how do you stay up to date on industry trends and changes in regulations, what are they really looking for?
They want to see that you're not just relying on past experience.
Okay.
You're actively seeking out new knowledge and
Right.
adapting to the changing landscape of the industry.
So how do you go beyond the generic, I read industry publications answer?
Specificity is key.
Specificity.
Mention professional organizations like the CMA,
Right.
the NHB, ASPZ, or any other relevant organizations in your field.
Right, because those organizations offer valuable resources, networking opportunities,
They do.
and continuing education programs.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to mention specific conferences or online courses you've taken.
Okay.
Highlight key takeaways that are relevant to the job you're applying for.
Okay, so let's say you recently attended a conference on sustainable building practices.
Okay.
What kind of insights could you share with the interviewer?
That's a great example. I could discuss the growing trend of using recycled materials and energy-efficient systems in construction projects.
Okay.
I could talk about the benefits of incorporating green building practices into the design and construction process.
Right.
And I could even share some specific examples of projects
Yeah.
that have successfully implemented sustainable building strategies.
That kind of detailed response shows that you're not just passively absorbing information,
Right.
but actively engaging with the latest trends and innovations in the industry.
Exactly. And remember, when you're talking about professional development, it's important to connect it back to the specific job you're interviewing for.
Right, because interviewers want to know how your commitment to continuous learning will benefit their company
Exactly.
and the projects you'll be managing.
Precisely. And that brings us back to the role of RoleCatcher in helping you prepare for that all-important interview.
Okay, yes, let's talk about RoleCatcher.
Because RoleCatcher is much more than just a library of interview questions.
Right, exactly.
It's a whole suite of tools.
Its AI-powered tools can give you personalized guidance,
Okay.
helping you tailor your answers to the specific job you're targeting.
So can you remind us how that works?
Of course. You start by uploading your CV or resume
Okay.
and selecting the job description you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
RoleCatcher's AI then analyzes both documents,
Okay.
identifying key skills and requirements for the position.
And then it provides personalized suggestions on how to tailor your answers to address those specific criteria.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's really fine-tuning your responses.
It's like having a virtual career coach in your corner,
Right.
guiding you through the interview preparation process. So let's say you're applying for a construction manager position
Okay.
that requires experience with LED-certified projects.
All right.
How could RoleCatcher help you showcase that expertise?
That's a great example. RoleCatcher might suggest that you highlight specific projects
Okay.
where you've successfully implemented LED principles.
Mm-hmm.
It might prompt you to discuss your knowledge of LEED certification requirements
Okay.
and the benefits of incorporating sustainable building practices into construction projects.
Right.
It might even recommend that you mention any LED-related certifications or training you've completed.
That's incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we might not even realize what aspects of our experience are most relevant to a specific job.
Exactly.
So it's really helping you to understand what they're looking for.
RoleCatcher helps you connect the dots and present your skills and experience in the most compelling way possible.
And it doesn't stop there, right?
It doesn't.
RoleCatcher's AI can also give you feedback on your interview answers
Yeah.
and even analyze your video rehearsals.
Absolutely.
It's like having a virtual mock interview panel at your fingertips,
Exactly.
giving you personalized feedback and helping you refine your responses and presentation skills.
Wow, that's incredibly valuable.
Yeah, it is.
So with RoleCatcher's guidance,
Mm.
you can walk into that interview feeling confident, prepared,
Right.
and ready to make a lasting impression.
Now, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From managing time costs and risks to handling conflict, ensuring quality,
Right.
and staying up to date on industry trends.
It's been a great overview.
But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier,
Okay.
the importance of continuous learning.
You mean the question, how do you stay up to date on industry trends and changes in regulations?
Exactly. Because the construction industry is constantly evolving.
It is.
And interviewers want to know that you're not just relying on past experience,
Right.
but you're actively seeking out new knowledge and adapting to the changing landscape.
You're absolutely right. And it's not enough to just say, I read industry publications.
Yeah.
You need to be specific and demonstrate that you're engaging with the industry in a meaningful way.
So give us some examples. What are some concrete ways that candidates can demonstrate their commitment to continuous learning?
Well, I'll mention professional organizations like the Construction Management Association of America, CMAA,
Okay, CMEA.
the National Association of Home Builders, NAHB,
NAHB.
the American Society of Professional Estimators, AASPE, or any other relevant organizations in your field.
Right, because these organizations offer valuable resources, networking opportunities,
They do.
and continuing education programs.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to mention specific conferences or online courses you've taken.
Okay.
Highlight key takeaways that are relevant to the job you're applying for.
Okay, so let's say you recently attended a conference on sustainable building practices.
Okay.
What kind of insights could you share with the interviewer?
That's a great example. I could discuss the growing trend of using recycled materials and energy-efficient systems in construction projects.
Okay.
I could talk about the benefits of incorporating green building practices into the design and construction process. And I could even share some specific examples of projects that have successfully implemented sustainable building strategies.
That kind of detailed response shows that you're not just passively absorbing information,
Right.
but actively engaging with the latest trends and innovations in the industry.
Exactly. And remember, when you're talking about professional development, it's important to connect it back to the specific job you're interviewing for.
Okay.
How will your commitment to continuous learning benefit the company and the projects you'll be managing?
Because ultimately, interviewers want to know that you're not just investing in yourself,
Right.
but also in their organization.
Exactly. By demonstrating a passion for learning, a willingness to adapt, and a commitment to staying ahead of the curve, you're positioning yourself as a valuable asset to any construction company.
And that brings us back to the role of RoleCatcher and helping you prepare for that all-important interview.
Yes.
Its AI-powered tools can provide personalized guidance,
They can?
helping you tailor your answers to the specific job you're targeting.
Absolutely. Remember, you start by uploading your CV or resume and
Wow.
selecting the job description you're interested in.
Okay.
RoleCatcher's AI analyzes both documents and identifies key skills and requirements for the position.
Right.
And then it provides personalized suggestions on how to tailor your answers to address those specific criteria.
Okay.
It's like having a virtual career coach in your corner,
Right.
guiding you through the interview preparation process.
So let's say you're applying for a construction manager position
Okay.
that requires experience with LED certified projects.
Hmm.
How could RoleCatcher help you showcase that expertise?
That's a great example. RoleCatcher might suggest that you highlight specific projects where you've successfully implemented LED principles. It might prompt you to discuss your knowledge of LEI certification requirements and the benefits of incorporating sustainable building practices into construction projects.
Right.
It might even recommend that you mention any LEID-related certifications or training you've completed.
That's incredibly helpful. Because sometimes we might not even realize what aspects of our experience are most relevant to a specific job.
Exactly. RoleCatcher helps you connect the dots and present your skills and experience in the most compelling way possible. And it doesn't stop there. It can even give you feedback on your interview answers and analyze your video rehearsals.
Okay.
Almost like having a virtual mock interview panel at your fingertips.
Wow, that's incredibly valuable.
It is.
So with RoleCatcher's guidance, you can walk into that interview feeling confident, prepared,
Yeah.
and ready to make a lasting impression. You know, it's amazing how much ground we've covered today.
It's true. We've really gone deep into what it takes to ace a construction manager interview.
From tackling those sometimes tricky questions to understanding the latest industry trends and, of course, leveraging the power of RoleCatcher's AI.
And I think the key takeaway here is that preparation is everything.
Right. It's not just about showing up and hoping for the best.
Exactly. You need to approach the interview like you would approach a complex construction project with a plan, the right tools, and a clear understanding of the goals.
So as you gear up for your interview, remember to review those key questions we discussed.
Practice your answers. Think about specific examples from your experience that showcase your skills and accomplishments.
And don't forget to tap into RoleCatcher's incredible resources.
Their AI-powered platform can provide personalized feedback, help you tailor your responses, and boost your confidence.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about showcasing your best self, highlighting your strengths, and convincing the interviewer that you're the perfect fit for the job.
Remember, you've got this. We're confident that with the right preparation and a positive mindset, you can walk into that interview feeling empowered and ready to succeed.
So go out there, embrace the challenge, and build something amazing.
Best of luck with your interview. We're rooting for you.